sexual abuse of a child,
exploits and degrades them. It can cause serious damage to social, emotional, and cognitive development of a child. Sexual abuse affects 1 in 4 girls and 1 in 6 boys before the age 18. Hi, my name is Zanetta Berryman Cooper, founder of Speak Out Now. Speak Out's goal is to spread awareness of child sexual abuse and rape. We provide resources for victims, their families, and help with the overall healing process. For more information, please like and visit our Facebook page, Speak Out 203, or call 203-936-9396.
Want to be the talk of the town this summer? Or do you want your hair to stand out amongst the rest? Then check out High Maintenance by Simone. High Maintenance by Simone offers 100% raw, virgin hair. Top quality, no shedding, and no tangling. And with proper maintenance, your hair can last 12 months or more. All lengths and all styles for those summertime colors are also available. All closures, frontal, and lace wigs are also available with High Maintenance. And also ask for the 3-bundle deal. And always get the best price and quality when you shop with High Maintenance. Satisfaction guaranteed and 2-day shipping anywhere in the United States. Also ask about the High Maintenance 10% off code. Use the promo code HMBS and get 10% off. For more information, you can contact High Maintenance at 252-499-3267. Or check out High Maintenance on Facebook at Simone Yowens. Or check her out on Instagram at High Maintenance by Simone. High Maintenance by Simone hair, the best quality you can get, and 100% raw virgin hair. It's High Maintenance, baby.
If engineering the perfect body is your main goal, the innovation personal training where you need to go. Keyword personal, meaning me and you, one-on-one, not one in a group. Everything Jay do is customized just for you. Cause the last I checked, everybody ain't the same. So how you run train everybody as the same, man? He come from the railroad, working on them tracks. So trust me when you train you, he gonna keep you on track. You innovation protein drinks instead of snacks, and the money ain't a thing. First assessment is free. Tell them what you want and what you trying to achieve, and check your BSRMs and show you what you need. Body structure, range of motion, time to put in work, train with ambition if you try and see your vision. 14, 20 man a row, now go visit.
Yo, what's good, y'all? I've been trying to get her. She's here. It was crazy. I want everybody to do me a favor. Hold on, let me make sure my bombs is right. Yeah. Hold up. There we go. I think we ready for Kerry, yo. Do me a favor, y'all. Give it up for Kerry. Is in the building. I know y'all have seen her because she be everywhere. Since this whole thing jumped off, this is my first time meeting her since this whole thing jumped off. But people talk about her, and she's definitely in the move doing her thing. Kerry, what's good?
What's up? How you doing?
Yeah, it was hard getting here. For people who don't know, because a lot of people hit me and was like, yo, get her on the show because we need to get to know her.
Mm-hmm.
Can you give them like a little description on who you are, what it is that you do, and stuff like that?
Most definitely. I'm a community organizer.
Uh-huh.
I organize. I've been organizing in New Haven for about 10 years now.
Okay.
And I've been organizing with People Against Police Brutality for about that same amount of time. And I'm not from Connecticut, from New York. I come to
What part?
Originally from New York City.
Okay.
The Bronx, born in Brooklyn but raised in the Bronx. And
Yeah, I'm originally from Mount Vernon.
Oh, word.
Yeah.
Shout out. And came out here for college, and then I've just been living and working out here since.
You went to college out here? In Yale?
Quinnipiac.
Oh, Quinnipiac.
Yep.
Now, what got you into this?
What got me into
The whole movement?
organizing?
Yeah.
Really just my lived experience. Essentially, like I moved when I was a teenager. I moved to the suburbs, upstate New York. And just went to a suburban high school. Got to see. I basically opened my eyes up, like to the resources that white communities got, and not understanding why it was different in our communities, why we didn't get those same amount of resources, why the schools were different in terms of the amount of resources that they received. The amount of policing is drastically different.
In the urban community.
Exactly.
Okay.
So these were like the things that I was questioning, and it kind of led me into community organizing because as I got older and I started to understand like systemic oppression and institutional racism and all these things, just like the oppressions of the system, I never had a literacy for it, but I wanted to do something against those things. I wanted to change, not change those things that sound corny, but I really wanted to like dismantle, this system because it's just not working for our people. And community organizing kind of gave me the tools on how to do that.
Now, so
somewhat,
this isn't
I don't
your
got
first...
the answers or nothing like that, but
right.
Just you learn how to resist, how to push back, and how not to necessarily accept the status quo of the system.
So this isn't your first go around with this kind of movement.
No.
So I know you've been watching the news and stuff. What do you think about this case thus far? Like, do you believe that it's a lot of funny crap going on? Like they're not giving us what we need to know to get an understanding of what's going on, like why this young lady was shot at.
Most definitely. There's a lot of that going on in terms of what the state commissioner stated today. It didn't assure me that this is an unbiased party investigating this crime,
right?
In terms of what this police shooting spree essentially,
right?
So yeah, that felt funny in terms of they try to throw out there, they try to sprinkle in this supposed call that that came in beforehand, and it sounds like it hasn't been verified that even happened. It sounds like from what I understand, that didn't happen.
Like the original
call.
Right.
So it's unclear to me how that's going to be handled, because that is that isn't just an injustice in this situation, because if that is what caused and initiated all this, but it's very hard to believe what the state tells us. I don't have a lot of faith in what the state says to be the truth. But
yeah. So now, do they talk to you? Were they like the chief and the Hamden chief? Will they have a conversation with you as far as giving you answers?
I could probably get a meeting with the mayor, but I'm uninterested in that. We want the mayor to act and to terminate the police, this police officer Devin Eaton, and we want the Yale police chief and the powers that be at Yale to terminate this police officer Terrence Pollock immediately. In the immediacy, while they begin those proceedings, these officers should be suspended without pay. They should not be on paid leave, which essentially is paid vacation.
Right.
It's not okay, that the city of Hamden is throwing its hands up and saying it's going to wait for the state investigation. The state investigation is investigating into whether or not these officers should be brought up on criminal charges. The city of Hamden should be investigating if their officer broke department protocol, and if they have the means, according to their standards, to terminate this officer, which we all know they do, because
Right.
we all saw what happened.
So they have the power to fire them right now.
Yes, they do. The Hampden Police Commission has the power to hire, fire, and discipline its officers. They would initiate an investigation to start those proceedings because you can't just simply just fire a police officer. You have to
Right.
have just means, and you would show that through an investigation. What we're calling for is for the officers to be terminated as soon as possible, and as they're awaiting that process, as they're going through that process, that he be suspended without pay. And the Hampden Police Commission has the power to suspend the officer for up to 10 days without triggering any labor relations activity without pay. The Hampden Police Chief can suspend the officer for 5 days without triggering any labor related activities without pay. That's a total of 15 days that they could immediately have done now, but currently this officer is on paid leave. He's not suspended without pay. And that's something that they can do to take action now. In addition to that, they can begin, and what we're calling for and what we're demanding is that they begin immediately, and they should have done this on Tuesday, April 16th, after the shooting. The same way the state begun its investigation, the city of Hampden should have begun its investigation. And that's what we're demanding, that they do an independent investigation, not an internal affairs investigation, which would be Hampden Police investigating Hampden Police.
Right.
We want an independent investigation. So yesterday we turned out and packed the house at the Hampden Legislative Council. I started at 6 o'clock. We didn't get out there council till after 11 o'clock. And we demanded that the council set aside the appropriate monies and appropriate monies in their budget to fund an independent investigation. And we called for the council to write a resolution that would call for an immediate, independent investigation with the funding set aside.
Now, do you have any faith in the council?
Faith? No, I don't have faith in any of these systems.
Right.
All, clearly they've been passive. They've done nothing.
Right.
So it's up to us to organize and to demand it and to get it through our organizing.
Right. Now, what is Yale doing as far as the other police?
Right now, we have a group of students and community dedicated to helping us to organize on Yale's campus. Yale has really just released internal statements to its community, which has been neglectful to the residents of New Haven, I believe.
Okay, right.
And it's been a shame on Yale. They've only released internal statements that have been totally problematic. The president just released another internal statement today, and he sends these to his student body, the alumni, and the staff there who receive these emails. But essentially, I believe, if I remember correctly, the last message that I read today was saying that they're going to let the criminal investigation ensue and essentially take no action.
And that could take forever, huh?
Forever. There is no legal limit, or that there's no legal mandate that requires a limit on an investigation. Investigation can go forever.
Wow.
So the state commissioner today said it may take 2 to 3 months, but that's not promise, right? That doesn't mean, just because he says that doesn't mean that that's what could be. It could go on for.
It could take longer.
It could. I mean, we don't want it to, but the reality is that the cities has powers it can exercise when these officers break department protocol and they show that they're unfit to police in our neighborhoods and our communities. They need to be fired through these police commissions, and the police commissions around this state are very complicit in police violence in our communities and very inactive in moments like this.
Now, I remember you saying, now when you say, in case somebody don't know, when you say protocol, that means when they pulled up on them, it should have been some kind of turn the car off or stick your hands out the window or whatever. That's what you mean by protocol, right?
Protocol, yep. Sirens. We saw no sirens. I didn't see any sirens illuminated.
Well, the video showed sirens after the shooting.
Right.
Like lights, not sirens, just lights.
Just lights. Yeah, we
Right.
saw no lights. We didn't get audio, so I doubt there were sirens if there were no lights, right? How would that work?
Right.
And yeah, protocol would be a fair warning. It would be just. It wouldn't be an officer jumping out, busting their gun off
Right.
as soon as they jump out the car.
Right.
That's the total opposite, I would imagine,
Of what you're supposed to do.
What they're supposed to do. Now, we know they're not doing what they're supposed to do. It's a crisis of our people being murdered. There's statistics from the Malcolm X grassroots movement, and there's a report done by the Malcolm X grassroots movement, an organization that I follow, leadership, it's leadership on this work. And they say that every 28 hours in this nation, black man, woman, or child is gunned down at the hands of someone sanctioned by the state or at the hands of a vigilante. Every 28 hours.
Every 28 hours.
Every 28 hours.
And nobody hears about this really.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Now I don't know if they can clean this one, because the video shows as he's getting out, he's putting his hands up.
Right.
And he had to duck back because shots were being fired at him.
Right.
So that would be the right thing to do to not get killed.
Exactly.
I got to duck. I don't want to get hit
to save himself.
Right,
yes.
to save himself. I don't want to get hit by these bullets.
Mm-hmm.
Now people are saying that Yale is power. Do you think they can possibly weasel their way out of this, because they pretty much run this city?
Well, what we see across the country is police getting impunity in these cases. So that's really what we're up against. We're up against the whole entire system is complicit and letting these police officers, escalate this violence in our neighborhoods and this terror in our neighborhoods, and then turn a blind eye when it's time to hold these police officers accountable. That's what we see nationwide. So I think that's really, we're up against, and to your point, we're up against the power of, Yale.
Right.
But, we want justice, and we're,
Absolutely.
we're not, we're unapologetic about that. And it's just complete insanity what's going on. We just, a few days ago, we got word, 2 days ago, that this young man, Anthony Vega, in Wethersfield, lost his life. He was on life support I'm not exactly sure, so I'm not going to say how long, but he was on life support after a police officer in Wethersfield shot him twice in the head. And we learned that he actually lost his life. I got the text, I believe it was 2 days ago, at about just right before this time, at about 6:45. And the media did not report on his death until a day later.
Really?
Yes.
A day later they reported.
A day later.
Now, do you think these cops? Now, I talked to a reverend out there at the protests at the Hamden police station. He said, we can't say Black Lives Matter because it was two black cops that did this. And I told him, well, at first I was like, okay, you got a point. Then I was like, hold up. It is Black Lives Matter, because if they weren't two black kids in that car, it probably would have been a different situation.
Most definitely.
You know what I'm saying?
And the foundation of policing is rooted in white supremacy. It's rooted in trying to catch people who were enslaved. The foundation at its core is about violence. And that violence is waged on communities of color for obvious reasons, to keep us oppressed, right, for all the reasons that they do, to try to keep us incarcerated, to make profit, all the things. So yeah, at its core, policing is violence. Police are there to enforce the law by use of force.
No matter what color.
No matter what color they are. It's to serve a certain function, and that function is white supremacy.
Okay. Yeah, he said it, and at first I was like, okay, you might have a point.
And it's all, we as people of color, as black people, we're always going to be the target in that setup, in that system, I believe.
Right.
So it is, it has everything to do about, affirming that Black Lives Matter, and that these police officers can't come into our communities and violate our rights to due process, and brutalize us. It's not okay. So I think it's important to, it's political to affirm that, and it's important that we affirm that as a people.
Now, has anybody ever given you any word on why it was Hamden and Yale and New Haven didn't show up to after the fact?
That's still unclear. That's when you said there's things that are fishy. That's really unclear to me. And the city of New Haven was quick to say, to throw their hands up to say that New Haven had nothing to do with it. Well, I think New Haven has everything to do with this.
Okay.
It shouldn't be okay for one thing we've been highlighting in our direct actions, after all this happened is that it's not okay that for Newhallville to be over policed the way Newhallville is over policed. There's 3 police departments that at any time can come in and police the residents of Newhallville. That's New Haven Police Department, Hamden Police Department, and Yale Police Department, like we just saw.
Right.
That is tyrannical. There's no governance structure for the residents of that community to hold those 3 departments accountable in a way that would be beneficial and will keep those communities safe. And even in this case, you can see that Yale's a private police department.
Okay.
It's private. In terms of holding, the Yale Police Department accountable, it's very hard to know how to navigate that when that system is private.
Private
right?
Meaning it's run by Yale.
Right.
The state has nothing to do with it.
The state does, but the city of New Haven doesn't.
Has nothing to do with it.
The state grants Yale Police Department its powers, not the city.
Okay.
So the city doesn't have jurisdiction essentially over policing Yale Police.
Okay.
Yale does, but not the city. And that's why it's crucial that Yale come out, that the university acknowledge this and stop being complicit and stop being silent.
Right.
I'm sorry, I just lost my thought right there.
Kwani King said in the conference it was stated there's no actual written policy regarding jurisdiction, but they still should make the other jurisdiction aware. So do Hamden can just go anywhere pretty much in New Haven?
From what I understand, there's some type of agreement or there's some type of understanding that Hamden can come into Newhallville. So they normally
Newhallville.
Normally Hamden police do not go past Newhallville, but I'm
okay.
This all happened 2 days after Malik Jones was gunned down in 1997, April 14th,
from East Haven
by East Haven cop who came onto Grand Avenue and murdered Malik Jones.
Right.
Shot him over 21 times.
Wow.
And that officer is still collecting a pension to this day.
Floodquist, he's collecting.
Robert Floodquist, right? Wow. So just to point out that we really have a crisis in our communities in the state of police violence, and we have a crisis of and a lack of or non-existent governance structure to hold these systems accountable when we're met with violence like we were met with on Tuesday night.
Now has the mayor said anything? The mayor of New Haven, has she anything that can help or anything that can bring all right, she has, because since I've seen it, she hasn't said pretty much anything.
I haven't been from what I don't have I don't have too much faith in our local governments really challenging police power. I'm sure that I haven't really been keeping up with too much with what the mayor's been saying. I know that what we need the mayor to do is to make a strong MOU, a strong memorandum of understanding between Yale Police Department and the city and Hamden Police Department, and set some standards as to when and how. One, I personally believe they shouldn't be in our communities, period.
Right.
So I think if we could, we should organize for that. But as long as the mayor has her power as mayor, she should at least in the immediacy of things set some standards and some requirements around and some around this relationship between the city of Hamden and the city of New Haven in regards to its policing. Because right now there's from what we understand, it's kind of is discretionary, and that's a problem.
Don't forget, y'all can call in 203-494-0708. Talk to Kerry. Now Yale's jurisdiction is it around the school, around the university?
Yale
or
also,
they can step outside
Yale
of that?
also steps outside of that.
So were they outside of that the other night?
Yes, they were.
They were outside of that.
Well, they can. They drive and they police in that area as well.
Right.
So that's the problem here. You have a triple occupation. You know,
In
you have
New
3
Hall-
police departments, police in New Hallville residents.
Right.
And then, you know, what we're told is, like, even going to the legislative council hearing in Hamden, you know, of course they prefer to hear Hamden residents. Well, they're police officers, police New Hallville residents. So they should have space there, and prefer to listen to New Hallville residents as well.
Right.
It's just, you know, in terms of accountability, just thinking how you get accountability in this situation, in terms of having, you know, 3 structures, 3 different institutions: the city of Hamden, the city of New Haven, and Yale University and Yale Police Department, to hold accountable. That's, you know, that's overwhelming.
Right.
In regards to knowing how to navigate that to get accountability, because they all have a role to play in what took place Tuesday night.
Now, have you heard any word on Stephanie, on her condition?
From what I understand, I haven't spoke directly with Stephanie's family. I'll say that. And from what I did hear is that Stephanie is still in the hospital recovering, and that may have changed. So I wouldn't quote me on that. But she's had surgery and is, you know, still in the hospital. And I imagine this is. Yeah, I can't imagine. I can't imagine what this feels like.
And I saw somebody in their all their racism. They said, well, Paul wasn't shot. Even though he wasn't shot, he's still going through something, because it's not every day you open your door up and you get blasted at.
Exactly.
From different angles.
Yeah, exactly. That's, I mean, to me, that's super, you know, that's traumatizing. I'm sure that's gonna have all kind of psychological effects on anyone in that situation.
Right.
So yeah, Paul was traumatized. He was wounded. You know, he was.
Right, he was
wounded. So we need to not, you know, discontinue those narratives. You know, they were shot at over 16 times. Over 16 times, from what we understand.
Wow, over 16 shots was fired.
Mm-hmm.
From different angles,
mm-hmm.
from Yale Police, Hamden Police.
Mm-hmm. And as of Anthony Vega's murder by Weathersfield Police 2 nights ago, that is from what you know, our organization has been counting, the 20th person in the state in the past 3 years to be killed and or murdered by the police in this state.
In the state of Connecticut.
In the state of Connecticut, 20 people. The past 3 years.
By police.
Not people who've survived, not people who've, you know, but explicitly people who've been killed or murdered by police.
Wow.
Just to highlight, you know, the crisis. And a lot of these murders and killings are happening by way of, you know, deadly high-speed chases that police engage in.
Right.
Such as the one Hamden did on August, I believe, 17th of 2018, where they chased a car into that Jarrell Gibbs was the passenger into New Haven over Quinnipiac, you know, on the Quinnipiac Avenue Strip.
Right.
So they left their jurisdiction and came into New Haven. And from what we understand, I saw this on the Mario Boone interview, 2 witnesses testified, didn't testify, but 2 witnesses reported to the news media that they saw the police crash into their car, causing you know, the driver to then crash, and Jarrell Gibbs lost his life. Jarrell Gibbs was only 24 years old, and this was just a few months ago. Jarrell Gibbs is counted in the 20 people that we know to have been murdered by police here in the state in the past 3 years. From April, this is counting from April 2016 to April 2019, just to give some folks some context.
And was any action taken against those police? The police that did that?
No. It's discretionary when there's lethal chases on the part of the chief state's attorney's office. So there's a law that says when there's a shooting or when someone is shot and killed, that there's an automatic chief state's attorney's investigation. Mm-hmm. So like the one in regards to the case of Devin Eaton and Terrence Pollock, who used lethal force against Stephanie Washington and Paul Witherspoon. There's a state's attorney who comes in automatically to investigate that case. In the case of lethal chases and in the case of police chases, period, it's not seen as lethal force. So it's on the discretion of the chief state's attorney's office as to whether or not to investigate a chase or a chase that's resulted in the murder of someone. So a lot of what we've seen in Connecticut in the past 3 years are people being chased to death, literally chased to death. And it's specifically young black and brown youth. And we specifically see our chief state's attorney, who recently went to the legislative building to testify for harsher penalties for youth who steal cars. So what we've seen is a rash of police chases, of police chasing youth who they suspect to be in stolen cars, or youth who they suspect to have stolen a car.
Right.
And what we've seen in a lot of those chases are young people who are, either, lose their lives because of being chased to death by the police and being murdered, and or the police jumping out their cars and shooting at young people who and playing the role of judge, jury, and executioner. Right. On people who they allege, right? That's the key word here.
Alleged.
Or suspect to have stolen a car.
Now, if the gas station owner says something was robbed or someone was robbed, shouldn't he have cameras or some type of something to match his story?
I believe so, and I also believe that story should have been verified before police ensued with any action.
Okay.
Or whatever they thought they were doing, whatever action they thought they were going to take, which is the brutality that we saw, the terror that we saw that they unleashed. That should have been verified, and it sounds to me that hasn't been verified.
Okay.
According to what the police commissioner stated today at the state's police press conference, at the release with the body cam footage.
Now, I see a lot of people that will say, okay, Kerry, your organization, People Against Police Brutality. But then you'll have some that say, well, how come no one protests when a black man is shot by someone else? Now, what do you say to that? Because it's like, I don't know if they're saying it to dummy down what your movement is, but they feel that if a black man is shot and killed or shot, there should be a protest with that too.
Yeah, I don't disagree that there should be a protest, but I think it's a both and. I don't think it's an and or.
Right.
So I think we should be out. We should be organizing in our communities, and we should essentially we should care if we could. I think it's about sometimes people's ability, people's time. I think a lot of time people are strapped in our communities. People are working hard, trying to survive. Not to make excuses, but there's just the realities. I think if essentially if we could, the more we can organize, this can be a space to build organizing in a way such that we can begin to organize around those, or more formally, or hold more direct actions in response to crime in our communities that we commit on ourselves, or violence that we commit on ourselves. Excuse me. But I don't believe that it's either or. I think that we need to do both. I think we need to do both, and I think we often look to, in these cases, who do we look to? Who do we call? In cases like this, in cases where there's murders, we call the police to these scenes, right?
Right.
So if these are the people who are supposed to uphold some standard of dignity, and they're doing the total opposite, they're coming in and they're waging war on us, then what good would that do if we don't organize against that?
Right.
So yeah, I don't see it. I think it's interconnected. I don't think it's one over the other.
Yeah, because these people are trained.
Yes. And they're sanctioned by the state, and we give them our tax dollars.
Right.
It's just completely unacceptable.
Okay.
I wish I had a better word than that.
No, you're right.
I'm a little tired, but I
get it. I know you're beat down.
It was something that we can't tolerate.
Now, when the people were surprised when you guys was out there, and the Yale students came out in full force like that. Now, do they believe that, because I know a lot of them are not from this state, mm-hmm. and they probably don't go through the same shit that we go through, mm-hmm. as far as being black people. Mm-hmm. Did that make you feel good that they came out and force like that?
I think it's important that in moments like this, we show solidarity,
right,
across the city.
Right.
And we come together off of the things that bring us together, that unite us. So this is as much as a Yale issue as it is a a New Haven issue, if you will. Not to make a binary there, because Yale's in New Haven. But black and brown students on campus have to be policed by that same police officer.
Right.
I don't think they're any safer. They may go to Yale, but you're black and brown in this country. The degree not gonna buy you much, right?
Right.
In the sense of keeping us safe from white supremacist forces. So I'm happy that I would say a lot of black and brown Yale students came out and really helped to organize the campus. And I think are really enraged by what happened.
Right.
And yeah, we're happy. White students came out and supported and played their role and stayed in their lane. Is most definitely.
Don't forget, y'all can call in, talk to Kerry, 203-494-0708. I see some questions up here. Simone Yowen said, ask her, can they protest at the hospital so Stephanie can hear them? I don't know if you would know what window she's at to kind of, because I know she knows what's going on in the city.
Yeah, we really want to support Stephanie. We haven't been able to necessarily contact her family. We know it's a really overwhelming time for her family.
Overwhelming, yeah.
And there's, if anyone is listening that's in Stephanie's family, there's been a lot of people to reach out to me to say that they would like to support monetarily. So it's just a matter of getting Stephanie's family connected to these people.
Yes.
But folks are waiting in line to really lift up and support in whatever way that Stephanie Washington.
Right.
But I haven't. Just to be super clear, I haven't been contacting her family.
Have you talked with Paul?
I spoke with Paul's parents, his two mothers.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Now, a question from Kwani King: will the next step be to lobby? Whatever.
Most definitely. I mean, the resistance against police violence in the state is growing. So there's been some lobbying, right? We just got a civilian review board at New Haven. That was a 5-year fight up at the city level. So yeah, I think it's to continue that, to build that movement across not just New Haven, but across the state and our communities, and to get us organized in such a way that we can work on organizing locally, but also work on organizing up at the state level for legislative change. So yeah, if folks really stay engaged with this movement and come out, I think we really do have the capacity to organize in such a way that we can begin to impact policy change up at the state level.
Now, do you ever say, do they ever come at you as far as, you're doing too much, slow down a little bit, as far as political people or mayors or chiefs or stuff like that? Has anybody ever came at you? Like, because they always see you on the front line.
No, not to my knowledge. But I understand. I think the heightened,
like, you know what I'm saying, like how Malcolm was when there's like, he's doing too much, or like,
oh yeah,
like you don't get the threatening calls and nothing like that, do you?
Not like that.
Right, okay.
I ain't on that level.
yeah. Because the threatening calls is kind of like, oh shit, I'm that motherfucker now.
Oh yeah, nah, not even. Nah, I ain't on that level.
That's fire.
Yeah,
like the threatening calls and like,
I definitely look up to Malcolm X though.
No doubt.
Most definitely.
So do you now, as far as people, can you take donations to your organization and stuff like that? Right
to
now, help build it.
We, what we try to do is always someone in need. Right now, we're trying to help. We're trying to help support some organizing going on, in addition to what we're doing here in New Haven around getting justice for Stephanie and Paul, and getting justice for the community, and making sure that these officers don't police our streets anymore because they're unfit to. In addition to that, we've been trying to raise monies for a young man named Noah up in New Britain. He was involved. Police shot and killed Zoe Dodwell in New Britain. Over 5 police officers opened up over 28 rounds of gunfire into a car full of teenagers. Zoe was shot multiple times and murdered. And the 2 youth were in the car with him, Caleb and Noah, and I'm forgetting their last names, but also don't, for full disclosure, I don't want to say their full names
Right.
on camera. They have since been first they were actually, and again I guess the police suspected a stolen car or something like this. But first I understand these two young people, after they witnessed this murder, were allowed to go home. They weren't arrested. We understand the next day they were picked up on charges, and they've since been incarcerated. And there's organizers who've since got one of the younger youth out on bail, got the monies up together, donated by the community, and now we're trying to get the monies. It's about $4,600 left that we have to raise to help get Noah out on bail, so they don't have to be in the carceral state.
And the Weathersfield kid, you haven't spoken to his family as of
We
yet.
went out to Weathersfield and we met some of his family members. They're really just still in shock and just suffering. And yesterday they held a protest outside of the Weathersfield Police Department, and they then went and did a vigil by the site where he was killed. And I believe there'll still be continued organizing. And people can stay updated on People Against Police Brutality page, and the group out in Hartford that's helping to organize around the murder of Anthony Vega is Moral Mondays Connecticut, is one of the groups that helping to hold the organizing.
Moral Mondays.
Yep, Moral Mondays.
Now I think with old school dudes like myself, now back in the 80s, 90s, the drug days, cops would whip your ass and it was kind of accepted with the game.
Right.
And I don't think that has changed. I think a lot of people will just say, we're immune to it now. But it's changed now. It went from ass whoopings to gunshots.
Right.
To you getting killed.
Mm-hmm.
So I think, do you think a lot of these cops just don't know the culture? Like, don't know they couldn't identify with me or you in a situation, even a conversation, because they might live in Cheshire or North Haven or something like that, so they wouldn't even be able to. Do you think that should change? Like, they should have some type of culture, taught the culture or taught how to deal with a person of color, or you know what I'm saying?
Well, my beliefs is I think we need to defund the police and dismantle the policing systems.
When you say defund, you mean just stop that money?
Yeah, because every year, you have things like in cities, you have school budgets getting smaller and smaller and smaller, and the police budget is getting larger and larger and larger. And it's not, it's a system that's not working for us. There's no assessment tools for policing. So, like, for instance, there's no evaluation tools, really. There's no accurate data keeping. So we need an entirely new system. I don't think training is going to work. I frankly don't think that's I think that's a Band-Aid, to a
big cut.
To a you know what I'm saying?
Like something needs stitches or something like
exactly,
yeah.
like a big gash. Like that's gonna do. I don't think that'll do much. So I think I don't think we need the police. We could police our communities. I don't think we need the police to police our communities, and they're frankly not doing a good job. From what I understand, even the amount of people calling the police for help has decreased significantly since the people have seen the crisis of police violence on social media in our communities.
Now, someone had inboxed
I think we need alternative solutions to policing,
right?
Because policing at its nature is violent, and at its nature is violent in our communities.
Right. Now, when Stephanie was shot, they were saying it took a long time. From a guy I talked to that lives over there, said it took the ambulance a long time to get there.
Mm-hmm.
And on the video you can hear her screaming, saying that I've been shot or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And should that have been? It just seemed like everything was wrong with that whole thing. There's no video of no. First they were saying it was a gun. And they were saying it wasn't a gun.
Right.
They didn't find a gun.
Right.
They released Paul.
Right.
So I don't know what do we have to wait for as far as an investigation and these men. Nobody's even said anything about these cops being arrested.
Right.
Like charged with attempted murder.
Right. That's right now. That is what the state investigation is looking into. And the worry with that, frankly, is that the state constantly clears police officers.
Right.
So and there's also ways that I understand, even if officers get charged, that they can possibly get accelerated rehabilitation and wiggle their way off that,
Where they
officers
don't do
have
any
done
time.
this, where they don't do any time, where they get their charges cleared and they get to finagle their way back into policing. So I think what's really key here is, while the state is investigating criminal charges, that the local police department, the local city of Hamden and Yale Police Department, Yale University, act now and terminate these officers so that they're just not allowed to police in our neighborhoods.
Okay.
So whether or not, regardless of the outcome, and even though we want criminal charges, we want prosecution, but regardless of that, this wouldn't be beholden. The officers policing wouldn't be beholden on that if the state's attorney's office doesn't act in good faith.
Okay. So I see you're really busy.
Yes, sir.
Because you got the megaphone, and you wilding, you're doing your thing. And have you ever been denied access to anything? It's like, we want to come to this meeting and show support. Has anybody ever denied you access?
Well, we don't ask for access.
Oh, you don't. You don't ask for access.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
not
so it's
the
no
right-
asking.
No asking. Not at all. Not without organizing. Some folks organize that way. No,
But
not on
you
them.
guys just don't ask.
We don't
It's
ask.
just straight. We there.
Oh yeah, we're occupying the space.
Now, when you now say like the day at Hamden Plaza and then march to the police station, is that something that can get you arrested, as far as stopping traffic and because that's probably costing the city money.
Well, the Constitution gives us the right to assemble.
Okay.
So we want to exercise that right, especially in moments when when our constitutional rights are being violated. They're not being followed by the people that are people that receive our taxpaying dollars, and that are sanctioned to service our communities by municipal means.
Right.
So we feel if that what the crime is what happened to Stephanie Washington and to Paul Witherspoon.
Right.
What the crime is what Devin Eaton, when Devin Eaton opened up gunfire when he jumped out of his car, and when Terrence Pollock jumped out of his car and opened up gunfire. That is the crime.
Moving car.
That is the crime that needs to be. There needs to be consequences for it out of a moving car.
Out of a moving car. He didn't even take the time to stop.
Exactly.
Right.
Right. Thank you for re-emphasizing that. It's really important. So yeah, we feel like that is the crime. That people organizing to call for justice is not a crime. That's the just and moral thing to do.
Now I watched the news, and Mario Boone said that the Yale cop, his dash cam was not turned on, or his body cam, and the Hamden cop's body cam was on late. Is there any way they can get this? So that's lost information. Technically, right?
Yeah, from what we understand, they recouped a little bit of moments before he turned the body camera on. Devin Eaton, the police officer, Hamden police officer. But
the Yale cops.
I'm not clear on that. I don't want to answer that question. It
Right.
seems like it's just lost to me, but I'm not an expert.
Yeah, guys, I saw somebody on the news from the state police said that it was pretty much lost because he didn't turn it on. I thought it turned on. I thought it was always on.
Right. That should be a charge, another charge, or multiple charges.
And that fits into the category of protocol.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. You're supposed to, from what I understand, you're supposed to have your body camera on. And the police, the state police commissioner, when was asked today at the press conference about, in his opinion, if the officer the officer Devin Eaton had turned it on earlier. Does he think he acted in the wrong? And the commissioner who's seeing this investigation, let me actually, you mind if I just pull this up on my phone?
Yeah, do your thing.
I wrote it down.
Because it seems like they're dancing.
But he used the phrase "in a perfect world without those stressors."
What do you mean stressors?
It is a tough position to be in. That is, something I take issue with, that we take issue with. That's unacceptable. His camera should be on. The cameras are for transparency.
Right.
We shouldn't have had to wait a week to receive the footage. We should have been able to receive the footage
Immediately,
as long as those officers are staffed and being paid by these cities, and by Yale, by this institution, and they are policing they're on the books to police in our neighborhoods. We should be able, the body camera footage is for the public to see. It is not for the state to withhold. The purpose of it is solely for transparency. And there's no reason we should have had to wait a week to receive this footage. There's no law that says while a state investigation is ensuing that they must withhold the footage.
because I heard you mention something in one of the rallies about the ACLU or something like that.
Yes, the American Civil Liberties Union is a Connecticut chapter.
And they have the power to pretty much release all this information immediately, right?
Well, the ACLU just backs and verifies that these cities do not have to withhold the body camera footage. So if you followed the Hampton police officer, and Yo has said nothing, and Yo's been completely silenced from what I understand on the question of the body camera. I'm sorry?
Can they do that? Just remain silent, not say anything, not give the public any kind of information.
Well, they've been doing that, and that's why it's important that we occupy Yale's campus and we continue to organize on Yale's campus to undo that. Right. But that's what they've been doing, which is, I think is despicable. I think it's just gross. It's disgusting. It says a lot. From what I understand, New Haven communities are like one of the number one employees at Yale. Right. So what does it say? What are you saying to the people that work and run your institution every day? Right. In terms of the body cam, or in terms of the footage, the Hampton police chief said that they have to wait until the state investigation is finished. As you can see, we just got the footage today, so that's not true. Right. The reason why
it's supposed to be wait till the state police finish the investigation.
That's what the Hampton police
and that
chief
was
said.
a lie because they let it go today.
It's also on his discretion. So the chief could have released the footage to the public the day it happened. It was on his discretion not to. There's no law that says they have to wait till the investigation is over. That's what the ACLU explains. This a digital file. So back in the 1970s, when you had the VHS copies, you had to mail a copy. You had to wait to get it back. This now is a digital copy.
It's digital.
So you can mail it multiple times and keep duplicates. Right. So that's not that's a bold-faced lie that police departments tell us when they don't want to exercise accountability.
So by doing that makes the people less we trust you even less now. Exactly. Because of everything that's going on with this. And I don't think there's too many people, black people especially, that trust the police as far as with anything.
Most definitely.
And I was going back and forth with a guy on the WTNH page, and you tell me if I'm true or not. My traffic stop and the white man's traffic stop is different.
Yes. Yep.
It's very different, correct?
Most
yeah, he didn't seem to understand that or want to understand it. Mm-hmm. I'm sure he knew what I was talking about, but that's not true, and you guys just put your hands on the steering wheel and turn on your dome lights and everything will be okay. And as we can see, that's not true. Mm-hmm. Because a lot of men have lost their life following the orders. Paul said that I think he said he was told to get out the car. Right. And he was shot at. Right. When he opened the door.
Right. It's convenient that the audio is missing.
And it's convenient now that the audio is missing.
Right.
Because he conveniently didn't turn on his body cam.
Right.
So now what's next for you as far as this case goes?
We want to,
because you seem like you guys ain't slowing down.
Not at all. We're going to continue to organize. We're calling people out to the next 2 city town hall meetings at Hampden, the Legislative Council meeting on May 6th at 6 o'clock, and the Hampden Police Commission meeting. And we're asking people to come in mass with complaints on Officer Devin Eaton on May 8th at 5:30. We'll be doing actions in between then. So just stay tuned to People Against Police Brutality page where we'll be getting the word out about organizing that we'll be doing.
Now, I did see something about Devin. What is his name? Devin Eaton?
Yes.
They were saying he's had no marks on his record since he's been a police officer. Do they do that to try to dummy down, to try to paint a picture of him immediately?
Oh, all the time. There's constant. I mean, just kind of helping to organize around police violence cases in the state of Connecticut.
Can I grab this?
Oh, most
This
definitely.
call? Yeah.
Yeah.
What's good? It's the Raw Report. We got Kerry Ellington in the building. Talk to us.
Hi, Kerry.
Hello.
I just want to say we appreciate you so much for everything that you're doing for the town and for these kids, period. We need more people like you. I've been watching you for days since this has happened.
Wow, thank you.
And this protest is so big. Me personally, in my life, I've seen them other places and on TV, but to watch it in my own town is an epic moment for me. So I just want to say I thank you and I really appreciate it. And I also want to know how long does this type of thing go on? How long would you be protesting?
Our goal is to keep protesting until we get the officers terminated. We really want, and really what we want too is the city of Hamden to take accountability, the city of New Haven to take some accountability, and Yale University to take accountability. And we want the officers to be terminated. So we're definitely going to be organizing till we see that through.
Right. And what else did I want to ask you?
And then just to add on to that, we don't just it's not gonna stop there. Like we've been organizing around Jason Negrone's case out in Bridgeport, Justice for Jason,
Right.
and helping to organize around Zoe, Noah, and Caleb's case, and at least in terms of helping to make sure that we get Noah out of incarceration, and we're trying to raise funds around that. So it's and we're really trying to get it so that, like I said, these lethal chases are looked at as lethal force, and it's not just on the discretion of the people in power to investigate it or not, or to turn a blind eye or not. At least they have to automatically do it. Now, whether or not they do it do a good job, that's another question. But the fact that they just have the option to just turn a blind eye in these lethal police chases is madness.
Right. The time that you've been doing this, have you ever gotten the results that you wanted? Have you ever seen something different happen from the protests? Because most people think that these things are senseless.
Well, it helps to, people do think that, but that it helps to initiate change. So because of a lot of this work, like we've got a civilian review board with subpoena power in New Haven. Mm-hmm. That was an organizing fight, and our organizing and our direct actions around police violence have helped people to understand why we need a civilian review board with subpoena power. So sometimes protests serve as education. There's a lot of folks right now having discussions around the globe around police violence who saw our resistance movement in New Haven the past few days. And most times, if that wasn't happening, those conversations wouldn't be happening. So at a baseline, where it creates a discourse, it has people sharpen their politics some, and engage in thoughtful, critical conversations around this crisis in our communities. And
that's true, because even listening to you up here and during the protests, I'm learning a lot of things that I didn't know. So it is good education.
Thank you.
It really is. Because there's a lot of things I'm just listening to that we wouldn't even know if you wasn't speaking on. Because the first thing for us to do is, we're just upset. We act out of anger and emotions. We really don't know what the hell we're doing. We going out. We just know we want to do something. We just yelling and screaming, but we don't have the. If we don't have the education, we're lost.
Most definitely.
We need someone to lead. You know what I'm saying? So we appreciate you for being a good leader. And also, I want to ask you this: from just from what's going on so far, how do you feel about it? Because I don't know. For me, for this one, I feel like we got a victory coming. How do you feel about it?
You know what? Just to be real with you, I feel I'm just been devastated by all the police violence across the state. But I pray that we have a victory coming with Stephanie, for Stephanie and Paul. It will be intolerant if those officers still policed in this area, in their city, as they're trying to get back on their feet, as they're trying to heal. It would be intolerant. So I pray that we get justice and we want to. I also want to just organize till we get it. Well, I say we, and in terms of leadership, it's been like a whole community of leaders, and I'm really grateful. New Haven has some great, strong leaders, across communities. So it's really been a collective community effort, and it's something that we should, I think that we should, it's a good thing for us here in New Haven that
Right.
we have a community that's ready to go, that's ready to resist. And to your point, sister, about turning, how we use that protest energy. For instance, we went to testify yesterday at the Hampden Legislative Council, and they were going to have a special meeting on the police budget, and they were going to specifically discuss putting police in elementary and middle schools in Hampden. They call them SRO officers, school resource officers, but they're really just police in schools.
Mm-hmm.
And the community, because there was, because we were organized and ready to turn out, the community really came out and was vocal in shooting that idea down and that narrative down that was needed. So there's some tangible ways that the protests and that the direct actions are really taking shape and starting to even make change on the base level.
I think for the people, me personally, I think even for the people, because it's more people I see that says that these protests, they don't work. I see a lot of people saying, I'm not going out there marching. I'm not doing that. It doesn't work. Me personally, I'm feeling like you. I believe they do work, and I don't know about everyone else, but me personally, I appreciate it. And I know the parents of the children, I know they definitely appreciated to see you and all the other leaders in the town that cares about their children. We could have been saying rest in peace, and we're not. And that right there is a big moment. And so when I see the protests, I see bigger than what, I don't know what everybody else sees, but I see something bigger. I also see, right. I see we protesting for the change that we want, but I also see a celebration of life. Them babies ain't dead, they're alive, and they get to see us going hard for them. I think that's an epic moment in itself, and I think that sends a message to all the rest of the babies in the world to let them know that us as leaders and us as parents, we got your back. We're not going to let them kill you in front of our face. We're going to do something about it. So
right on, yeah.
So it's an epic moment, and I think they're necessary. And again, before I go, I thank you, and I'm going to be watching every step of the way, everything that you do, and everybody else. Hey, Bullpen. Hi, Rob.
No doubt, First Lady.
See you soon.
Thank
All right,
you.
see you
Peace
soon.
out.
Peace.
All right,
God
peace out.
bless you, Kerry.
Same. Peace, sister.
Now let me ask you this: is it a possibility those cops could get off? Like clear to all charges and put back to work. Could that happen?
I don't want to put that energy out there, but
right.
This, like I said, the state's attorney's office has been notorious for giving police impunity. But I think we're going to organize and just put as much pressure as we can on the system to ensure that doesn't happen. Right.
Okay.
Yeah, and in the case of Anthony Vega, we're really, I'm just hoping we could really build up some organizing in that community and the resistance in that community
Anthony
to really
Vega's
challenge
in Bridgeport.
The Weathersfield,
right.
The 18-year-old who was
shot and killed
by the Weathersfield police. That community is deeply hurting right now. From what we understand, he's a young kid. A lot of people know him. He was loved in his community. And we just want to send our love and support to that community and whatever solidarity we could show. And we want to encourage, that community to, if they can, to organize against that murder of Anthony Vega and to push back.
Yeah, so your plate is pretty much full.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, your plate is full. Everybody's showing you a lot of love.
What up, everybody?
The bullpen, they call it the bullpen because usually people come up here and get their head pulled off.
Oh, okay.
When it's.
I ain't know that.
Yeah. But nah.
I didn't know that.
Nah, I mean.
Yeah, I wasn't set up for all that.
Nah. They know, but I knew you wasn't gonna catch that.
Okay.
That you wasn't gonna get that smoke.
Word.
Well,
shout out to the people. I love the people.
Yeah, the people. They showing you mad love. Now, when Mario first came up here, he did catch a little smoke. The second time he came up here, it was more love. They was kind of embracing him a little bit.
Yeah.
Have you gotten a chance to know Mario and see what he's doing and stuff?
A little bit. He's been doing some really good coverage of police violence.
Right.
He's probably the only reporter that I know to really be on it the way he is. I know him a little bit. He seems like a cool dude, you know.
Yeah. I mean, he has to do what he's doing. He's doing what he's doing.
Yep. And he's giving good coverage at least of police violence issues. So we're hearing it breaking from him. I'm not really hearing it from these other news outlets.
Right.
But in particularly Mario Boone, and particularly him.
Yeah. But he I'm glad everybody's showing that love because like I said, usually they come up here. Now I asked the police chief from Hampton to come on. I don't think that's gonna happen.
Mm-hmm.
I asked the police chief from New Haven. He told me he would get back to me this week.
Okay.
I don't know if you spoke to him. I think we just met that night at the first protest.
Yeah, no, I'm familiar with who the chief is, but I haven't spoke to him.
Okay, yeah. So I don't know if they're gonna come on, but hopefully they will. Let me grab this call.
Yep.
Yo, it's the Raw Report. We got Kelly in the building. Talk to us, baby.
It's Kerry, Rob. Kerry.
I said Kerry.
Her name is Kerry.
Dumbo. Yeah, what's good?
Hey, Rob. Hi, Kerry.
Hello.
This is Courtney,
Hi,
aka
Courtney.
College Girls, for the viewers who don't know my voice. I was calling to see when is the next event.
Right now, we're gonna be organizing the next event. So, but what we do have is we're calling people out en masse on May 6th and May 8th. But we will have more events before then. So what we're asking people to do is to like the page People Against Police Brutality, to stay updated.
Okay.
Because we definitely want to continue to organize and to continue to do direct actions.
Okay, will do. I want to say thank you on behalf of everybody in the community for being the quote-unquote face of this movement, because what transpired definitely should not have transpired the way that it did.
Mm-hmm.
Myself, I tried to make most of the protests that I could. However, I am a single mother of 3. I missed the first one.
Oh, wow.
I went to the second, third, and the one in Hampton.
Oh, wow.
I went to the second one that they had out Argyle and Dixwell. I went to the one on Broadway. I went to the one in Hampton that we did when we walked to the Hampton Police Department.
Mm-hmm.
I spoke to you briefly. You probably don't remember, but I did speak to you briefly.
I remember your voice.
Okay.
And nobody can forget that annoying voice.
You're a hater, Rob.
Nah.
You love this voice. Shut up.
Fuck out of
Congratulations. You played yourself.
Yesterday.
Yep.
And I was trying to watch through other people's lives, but you couldn't really hear that well.
Yeah.
So I was kind of upset Rob didn't go.
Yeah, I definitely needed to be there. I won't.
Yeah, you can't see my face right now, Rob, but I'm side-eyeing you right now.
Oh, really?
Because you didn't go. Yeah.
Oh, word.
Yeah, it was a good community turnout. About
Yeah,
we went on from about 6 to about 11:15 or something like that. At the town hall, and just people just testified the whole entire time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Another question I wanted to ask was, was anyone able to get in contact with either of the victims' families?
I've been in contact with.
I got Paul's mother's up here commenting now. So
Yeah. I've been in contact with. Shout out to Paul's moms. They're
Keisha,
dope. They're real dope. But not Stephanie's. And I talked to them limitedly, and also not Stephanie's family. I haven't been in. I've spoke with I believe Stephanie's best friend. Yeah.
Okay. I just want to do anybody know the condition of her right now? Like, is she stable? Do you know if she's going to be coming home soon? Like, do anybody know?
I don't know accurately that information, but what I do know, from what I do know, unless it's changed, is that she's still in the hospital. Just,
right.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, again, I want to say thank you on behalf of the community, and I'll definitely try to make it to the next event.
Yeah, thank you, sister. Thank you.
No problem. Bye, Rob.
Yeah, take care, buddy.
Shut up. Bye.
Bye. Now I got Keisha's mother. Paul's mother is up here. I've been knowing Keisha a long time.
Yeah.
Her.
I just met.
She's dope. She's good.
Yeah.
We go way back.
Thanks.
She said, I'm
Strong
trying to
sister.
find her comment. She wants to. She said, thank you for all your support for my son Paul and his girlfriend. That's big.
Mm-hmm.
That's real big. That's real big.
We just want to thank Keisha and her family, and Paul and Stephanie and Stephanie's family. all the love. We want to send them all the love,
Right.
and just let them know that we support them, and we're here for them. And a lot of people want to extend support in the community when they're ready, and we know right now they're
Yeah, it's not the time.
it's not the
Yeah,
time.
yeah,
So
I
when
get
they're
it,
ready,
I get it.
yep, it's
I
people
get
there who just ready to give nothing but all the give the
I,
support.
I even hit her up,
Yeah.
yo, come on the show, but I
Yep.
understand this.
Yep.
It might be some legal issues,
Mm-hmm.
and I've been knowing her a long. When she walked up on the scene and was like, "That was my son," I was just like,
Yep.
I didn't know what the fuck to say because this isn't something that should be happening.
Mm-hmm.
There should be no young people getting shot at
Mm-hmm.
just, multiple times by somebody you're supposed to trust
Yeah.
and rely on for, So I didn't even know what to say to her, and I
Yeah,
know.
and it's all right. I know they were. I think of the young people, like they are babies that are coming out. They are precious. They're we have to protect our youth, of all ages. Even so it's just unacceptable that it's horrific. It's horrific. It's a nightmare watching that video. It's horrific. It's horrific.
And then I believe that when young people see stuff like this, it takes a toll on them.
Mm-hmm.
Because I have a 14-year-old, and she asked me, like, Dad, what's good with the police?
Mm-hmm.
Like, they was somebody who because
Mm-hmm.
you know how you're taught the police
Yep.
are good, and they, listen to them and do
And
what they say.
that shouldn't be being taught.
Yeah, that shouldn't be, a 14-year-old shouldn't be asking me, are the police good?
Right.
Oh, I'm trying to,
Yeah, I work with young people, educator for about. I work with young people for about 7-8 years in the city. And yeah, that's like my worst nightmare. And I talk to the young people I work with, and I don't currently work with young people, but we have honest and real conversations all the time about policing and police violence. Because it's the reality that really impacts them. So for schools to be sheltering young people's understanding of this level of systemic violence is irresponsible. Our schools should be centers where young people could really go and get in and have an analysis, and have space, because a lot of times our young people already have it. It's just
Right.
about encouraging them, giving them space to really dig deep, and to really think about these systems in ways that they can navigate them, as opposed to shaming them from having thinking politically. We need political spaces and education centers for our youth, so that can really engage. It's a lot of young people that want to organize around this, I imagine. So
Yeah.
they need that space. They need to be encouraged to, or given space even, because they don't even need to be encouraged. Young people got the energy; they'll do it. But they just need to be given the space.
yeah, you getting, so you said the next meeting is May 6th, right?
May 6th. And to look out on People Against Police Brutality page, or Black Lives Matter New Haven page, or Party for Socialism and Liberation page, or Justice for Jason page, or the Connecticut Bail Fund page. Any one of those pages you can
Get information
get
on what's
information
coming
on,
up.
or if there's any direct actions coming up.
Okay, I see that the love is crazy.
Word.
The love is crazy here, and like I said, usually they come. I knew they was gonna come hard at you.
You be in the
I know
hot
it.
seat.
Yeah, you be in the hot. It'll be pretty much like you come up here and you say something, because there was a guy up here. We had a guy up here who ran for governor. He came in with his MAGA hat on, and they was on his ass.
Oh, word. Oh,
They was on his ass.
Shout out.
Yeah, he was on
Facts.
his ass. They
Big facts.
was on his ass.
Yeah.
He basically said that if we wasn't slaves, so we shouldn't focus on that, because we were never slaves. We had the ability to go to college. And shout out to Pete Lamar. His name is Pete Lamar.
Okay.
He ran for governor of Connecticut. He said that since we weren't technically slaves back then, that we really don't know anything about slavery.
Yo, these folks be on something. These folks be on that special stuff.
Yo.
It's an epidemic in Connecticut. Racism, ignorance. White people, teach
Now,
yourselves. Go to a class. Learn about racism. It exists. It's real.
Are you
Pick up a
familiar with
book,
Rodney?
Talk to somebody.
Rodney, that's Paul's uncle.
Yes.
He just said, "This is Rock. I'm in Hartford. Let everyone know this family in Hartford needs some support."
Almost definitely, yeah. We just met with some of the family members, or one of the family members yesterday when we went out there right before the Hampton action.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, Rodney's he's always he does a lot in the community too. I've been knowing Rodney for a minute.
Mm-hmm.
They're a great family. I know Rodney and Keisha and Paul Senior, and so I'm just hoping the right thing is done.
Mm-hmm.
I technically have no faith because I used to get my ass kicked by police back in the day, and it was just pretty much kick your ass and take your drugs, take your money, and drive off. That was the premise back then, and it seems that it's gotten it's worse now because people are dying now, and it's like even the black community's become immune to it. Like, the police kill somebody, we'll be outraged for a week or two, and then we'll lose interest in it. So everybody appreciates you, because you're definitely on the front line.
And not just me, it's so many other people.
Oh, it's more.
I've seen many.
Because I saw your crew. After Sunday, y'all was in a little huddle. I was like, okay, there they go right there. That's the team right there. That's the motherfuckers right there. That's the
a
team.
lot of people. It's a lot of people.
Oh yeah, I saw.
People that came out from the hood. That's been, for the past couple of days, has really been coming out and staying engaged with everything and helping to lead and shape how it looks. So it's a collective effort. It's a collective effort.
And I even saw
that's what's the.
I even saw white
Stephanie
people
and Paul
walking
bringing
to
people
you.
together.
Yeah.
Shout out to them.
I think this is gonna. This has to bring change. It has to, because it's been going on too long, and people are like, wait a minute, this shit's been crazy, like, for all over the country.
Yep.
And when is enough?
Right.
So, and I'll say I appreciate you because I have a young child, and that's the first thing people think of when something like this happens. They think of their own child. And I saw them babies ducking fucking bullets and glass shattering and shit, and that shit broke my heart.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then to see people,
it's unacceptable that these cities think they just gonna not, that they're gonna wait and not do anything.
and
that's
dance
essentially what
around
they're
it.
doing.
That's what
They're
pisses
just
you
waiting.
off. Like
They're being super passive and silent.
now, does waiting can waiting
unacceptable.
do something
No,
as far as
no.
make them win?
And what I want to encourage people to do is to call the mayor's office, call the city of Hampden mayor's office, call Yale University. Let them know that we want accountability, that we want action now, that it's not okay that they sit and do nothing. So we encourage, if you go on People Against Police Brutality page, we'll post today some simple actions you can do, even if you can't make it out to a direct action. Some phone calls you can make to pressure the powers that be in this in our area and Hampden and Yale to take action now and to terminate those officers now, to suspend those officers now until they terminate those officers, and to do that immediately and to begin this independent investigation, because that's something they had to do formally in order to, from what I understand, they have to investigate on a local level in order to terminate someone locally. And we want that investigation to be independent. We want it to be ASAP, and we, as soon as possible, and we want these officers to be terminated.
Okay. We thank. I can't even say thank you enough because. And you said May 6th is the next.
May 6th, but don't wait till May 6th. Show up at the mayor's office in Hampden. Bring in your complaints on Officer Devin Eaton. Do the same thing at Yale Police Department. Call Yale University, and particularly Yale University, to let them know you're outraged that this university's been silent, that they've taken no action. We can take little actions every day if people have the availability to.
Now, Young, before I let you go, the girl that just called in, Simone, she said, do you think a petition would help, and how about if we threaten to hold our votes? Is that something that can get some, movement, some momentum?
Definitely. This is a mayoral year where the mayors are going to be running for office.
This is their year, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. So the primaries will be in August.
So this is their ass kissing year. They got to kiss a lot of ass.
You said
can get the mayor up here now.
Yep.
Because
yes, you sure can.
Need the votes,
yep.
yo.
So I most definitely agree with that. And a petition could help. Anything to organize the community will help. Even if it doesn't have the biggest impact, it'll still help in getting people to get active, to be engaged, to understand what's going on. So a petition can most definitely help.
Okay. I hope that answers your question. Yo, y'all, this is Kerry Ellington, People Against Police Brutality. Y'all know her. Y'all got to talk to her tonight. We definitely going to see her. Can I get you'll come back?
Word.
And you can bring your team. I saw the crew out there. I saw y'all with the sage and
we have funny
burn the sage and you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, we have funny here. That's my homie.
Yeah. No doubt. Y'all was out. Yeah. Y'all was heavy and that was a big deal. Yo, everybody, thank y'all for watching. Bullpen. I've never seen y'all. They were in awe of you tonight. People say, yo, she's intelligent.
Word.
She's not you're not just coming up here talking no dumb shit. You smart.
Shout out to the people.
Yeah, shout out to the people. Shout out to the people. Thanks y'all for watching. We appreciate you. I'm definitely gonna keep you up to date. I'm gonna get to everything. I'm gonna be cameraed up, doing my thing. And I just gave Kerry. She can come back here anytime she wants. No problem. We're gonna be trying to get Paul up here. That's
word. Justice for Paul. Justice for Stephanie.
Not Paul. His uncle, Rodney. Because I know Paul is probably it might be tricky for him to come on something because of the legal, maybe a legal issue. But if he can, I would love to have him on. You know, and I'm not doing this for no views, and I don't get paid to do this. You know, this is something that I think needs to be done. You know what I'm saying?
So platform here, brother.
Yeah, we need the platforms because you know the other platforms might not be keeping it 1,000.
Oh, they're not.
They're not.
They're not. without a doubt.
They're not keeping it real.
We need our own media. It's so critical.
Yeah, they're not keeping it real. So everybody, thanks for watching. We really appreciate it. This is Kerry. We out. Thank you, everybody. It's the Raw Report. Peace out.